If you don't want to hire an entire analytics team just to pull out a few numbers from your database, from data that is already buried in there somewhere, and you just need to rearrange it a little bit, you might want to have a look at Metabase. Metabase is a free open source analytics platform that allows you to have a sneak peek into the heart of your business, which probably is your primary database. And you can generate some beautiful graphs from it, as you can see right here on their website. You can create these little maps, you can create bar charts, and so on and so forth. And today I want to show you how you can set up Metabase yourself. And you don't need to be an IT expert to do this. Just a little bit of technical knowledge is enough, and we can get started in less than 5 minutes. So we will use a service called Sliplane.io, and Sliplane is a cloud provider that is focused on hosting Docker containers. And a lot of times these open source tools like Metabase, they are published on Docker Hub as a Docker container. And Sliplane makes it really easy to deploy these open source software via Docker Hub. So let's sign in with our GitHub account. If you don't have an account, go over to github.com and create one for free. And then we will create a new project and name this one Metabase. I will click on the project, click on deploy service right here, and then we need to choose a server where we want to deploy this application. As you can see, I already have a base server in this account. If you don't have a server yet, you can create one over here, choose a location and server type, and then click create paid server. In our case, I will just select the server that we have, and then I click on add service. Let's go over to Metabase real quick and then look for documentation. Inside of the documentation, I will just search for Docker. Maybe I can find something already. Running Metabase on Docker is what I'm looking for. And if we scroll down a little bit, you can read through all of this. But what is most important for us is this example Docker Compose file. And I will just copy the Docker Compose file. Then I will go back to Sliplane, and over here on the top right corner, we have a little command parser where we can paste in the Docker Compose file, and then we can click on add service in order to pull out the service definitions that are listed in this compose file. So we have two different services. We have the Metabase service and we have the Postgres database. First thing that we have to do is make sure the Postgres database is deployed first. So I will move it up. And the second thing that we want to do is we want to make the Metabase instance public. So I will click on this not exposed toggle and I will change it to public, and then I will save the changes. So this is already enough in order to deploy Metabase, but we can take a closer look at these services and see what is going on. So if we go back to the compose file, we can see a lot of environment variables have been preset for us. We have the database type, which is Postgres. We have a database name, a database user, but also a database password and a database host. In a production setting, you would probably want to switch out the database password, as it isn't a very secure password. Right here it says my secret password, and if we go back to the Sliplane service and we click on the Postgres database, we can see the Postgres password was detected to be my secret password. So we can change this one right here. For example, we want something more secure, and I say we don't want my secret password here, but we want to generate a random value. I will copy the value, I will apply the changes, save the changes, and then I need to make sure that in my Metabase service, I'm also swapping out the password right here so we can establish a secure connection. So this is the only change that I will apply right now, but if you want to go in depth, you can of course check out all of the other configuration options and take a look at the Postgres documentation and Metabase documentation in order to see how you can configure this setup. So without further ado, let me click on deploy and start the deployment of both of these services. As you can see, two services are now deploying on our base server that we have created or that already existed in my account. The Postgres service is already live, so let's quickly wait for Metabase to finish as well. It should only take a few seconds probably. Metabase did deploy successfully, and now if we click on this little arrow right here, we can visit our service. As you can see, we are now redirected to this public URL that was generated for us, and we are now connecting to Metabase. And right here it says welcome to Metabase. Let's get started. Let's choose a random username, email, and company name and password. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want to save these right here. I am not sure, and I just want to continue with the example dataset. I do not want to share usage metrics, and that's basically it. Then I can click on take me to database, and right now I'm inside of the platform. As you can see on the left side, there are some tutorials. Then everything is organized in collections. So we selected the example dataset, so everything is pre-populated. And then in order to check out the project, we can take a look at these example dashboards right here. For example, here's an overview of people in accounts, and it already generated this little example dashboard. We can see the total accounts, new accounts in the last 30 days, user growth, etc. And then you have this little map graphs, and we have bar charts and so on and so forth. Now we can also connect our own database by clicking on this little menu item right here on the top left, and then under data I can click on databases, and then I can add a new databases and connect my Metabase instance to this database, and then basically create my own little charts and dashboards from the data coming out of this database. You have a bunch of different databases. We have Amazon, we have ClickHouse, MongoDB, MySQL, Postgres, etc., etc. And another thing that I want to show you is how you can create your own dashboards. For example, right here, we already have this our analytics collection. And if we click on the plus new button in the top right corner, we can create a new dashboard, for example. So let's make this a new dashboard. I would click on create, and then we can add a chart. So in order to add a chart, we first need to add a question or SQL query. If you know how to write SQL queries, you can use this SQL query editor, but you don't even have to know SQL in order to pull out data from this example database. We can also click on new question. Then we will choose the database, and we will choose a table. For example, let's use orders right here. And there we have this little query builder where we can add different data sources. We can add filters. We can summarize or join tables, and then we can visualize the data. For example, if I visualize it right here, this one is a table format, but down here in the bottom left corner, I can also choose a different visualization, and then it's going to ask me, we need to summarize the data first. Let's use the price right here in order to summarize the data by price. So I will click on done, and we have this beautiful visualization in our dashboard that is pulling the data from our Postgres example database. So that's basically it for this little tutorial. If you did like the video, comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you want to give it a shot, go over to Sliplane.io and deploy your own version of Metabase in just a few minutes.